Sills. You know, I never thought in my years playing professional football or covering professional football that I ever would say that the defensive tackle position in the National Football League is more valuable than the running back position in the NFL. Guys who touch the ball, guys who score, guys who control a lot of the game. I never thought that a player who never touches the ball, think about this, a player who never touches the ball, a defensive tackle, has more influence on a salary cap and on salaries in the NFL than a guy who touches the ball 30 times a game. Think of that. I never touch the ball. But if I'm one of the top guys, I can make between $10 and $25 million. We're going to hit on that here in a second. We are here now, folks. Like, we're a week away from the start of training camp, which is phenomenal and great. And it's not so much that training camp is exciting. It marks the beginning. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to sit around breaking down guys running around helmets and shorts and limited practices and controlled scrimmages and all that shit. No one's saying that. But it really starts it, doesn't it? Shit, the Jets start tomorrow. Football starts tomorrow. You hear me? Pro football starts tomorrow. That's how I look at it. That's totally how I look at it. It's been really good storylines. And by the way, watching all the running backs talk about their respected position. Dude, second and third team wide receivers make more money right now than top flight running backs. Look at all the guys that tour on the beach. Zeke, Dalvin Cook, Kareem Hunt, quality players, quality guys. And you're being told no if you're Josh Jacobs, who led the NFL in rushing. Get this, you work your ass off to be the best player you possibly could be on your team and in the league, and you're not being rewarded anymore. The NFL looks at place kickers as more of a commodity because, again, like I just told Tone, place kickers make money for the league. You make an extra point, commercial break. It's an important part of the game. Place kickers make money for the league. This is why the Eagles are boring. They don't want to make the Eagles front and center. 14 play drives, that's not instant gratification. That's why they look at Jalen Hurts in a whole different way. Jalen Hurts is a star guy, but they don't look at him as a star player. He's a star in the league, but the league won't promote that style of play. 14 play drives, that's boring. Represents Philly, hardworking, go to work. Rewarded by the Eagles, good. But the league looks at him just like they do anything else. Dude, it's got to be instant gratification. It's got to help gambling. Jalen Hurts is a fantasy football freak. That's the guy you want on your fantasy team. Funny, though, it's not who the guys that want to promote the league want to promote. They don't want to promote him. Hey, and I'll say this to you about the running back position. I see the running backs, and they're right to bitch. You work hard. You put all your time in. You become the best player at your position, and you're not being rewarded any longer. And I like Derrick Henry. Hey, if you don't want the position any longer, you should just phase it out. Well, Derrick, they are. They don't want running backs being the stars of the league anymore. Don't you get it? This is why the wide receiver position makes so much money. This is why cornerbacks make so much money. This is why edge rushers make so much money, and quarterbacks. Running backs do not. You're not going to see it. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The league has changed the rules. Don't you get it? It's the style of play that has phased them out. The NFL has systematically done this to the player position. You know what they said 5 years ago, 6 years ago? These guys only last 5 years anyway. Why would I invest all that money in a player who doesn't last 5 years? Can I tell you who? Tone, I don't know if you agree with me on this. Can I tell you who killed the running back position? You know who killed the running back position? Todd Gurley. They gave him all that money, and it was an anchor around the Rams' neck for 4 years. He was in Atlanta, and they were paying huge money to him. The Zeke and Todd Gurley deals ended the running back position, especially when it came to being paid. Those two guys ended it. They're not going to, it's because they don't last long enough. Those two guys ended it. Todd Gurley deal, the Rams gave him all that money, man. Do you know that, hey, do you know that Todd Gurley's still on the books financially with the Rams? Do you know that? His money's been deferred out. Think about that. He hasn't been there in 6 years. He may be off the books. Maybe it was last year. Look at the money. Look at Zeke's deal. Cowboys had to dump him. Wasn't worth it. Had all that money, was due like 17.5 or something. I mean, Todd Gurley killed the running back position financially. Hey, man, the running back position is important. But can I make something very clear to all you? This is what kills me about the quarterbacks in our league. Where are you defending your teammates? I have not heard one quarterback post anything or say anything to defend guys that they count on for play action, for moving the chains, for using time of possession. You know why? Because all those stiffs got their money and they shut the you-know-what up. Where's Daniel Jones? I thought that was Saquon's boy. Why isn't he defending him? Where's Daniel Jones? You got your bag of money. You know what happens? These NFL quarterbacks, once they get paid, become NFL shills for management. They're lapdogs. Now I know why Stephon Diggs was pissed off at Josh Allen. He was probably told in the offseason, hey, we're going to make a run at DeAndre Hopkins. And that never transpired. Okay? Never transpired. They brought some other dude in. Hey, man, end of the day, where are the quarterbacks defending their teammates getting more money or defending the position that they so need themselves? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Where are the quarterbacks? The Aaron Rodgers, the Josh Allens. Shit, Jalen doesn't have to defend anybody. He's got a room of rentals. Jalen Hurts has a running back room of rent-a-cars. That's all it is. It's a bunch of rentals. There's not a star in the group. There's a maybe star. The Eagles don't have a star in the group. They might have. But there's nobody in there where you go, man, that guy is going to carry the mail for the... Holy cow. And you're lying if you say you do. There's nobody in that room that's a star, who has been a star. Every single player that the Eagles have, by the way, this is not an Eagle issue. This is a league issue. Every player at running back, besides the guys that they drafted, have been all guys that other organizations have moved on from. Seattle and Detroit. Both, and by the way, not only moved on from, but drafted guys in the first round and second round and move on from them. They're like rentals. Again, when people, they get mad at me for bringing up guys who are not stars. There's no stars in the Eagle running back room. There's not one star. You call them a star because they play on the Eagles? Okay. Okay. They rented running backs. You know what they did? They signed as many as they could, and they hope one hits. They're playing the law of averages. That's okay. It's not an Eagle thing. I've now come to the conclusion, get this. You know when Howie always says that he got to be kind of ahead of the curve? The Eagles have been ahead of the curve. And it benefited Miles Sanders. The Eagles were ahead of the curve, and it benefited him at the beginning of the year because he got that $21 million. Thank you, Howie. If I'm Miles Sanders, he should be saying, thank you very much, Howie. I really appreciate it. I would never have made the money in Philly, but you helped get me the money in Carolina. I guarantee you this. Carolina regrets signing Miles Sanders to a $21 million deal when they see what's going on in the league right now. They overpaid for him. It's not that he's not a good player. Are you telling me you'd rather have Miles Sanders than Dalvin Cook? I could get Dalvin Cook $2 million cheaper. He's a better player. They overpaid for him. Okay? The position is being, how about this? The National Football League and the owners and player personnel departments have decided to downsize the running back position. Don't take it personal. But that's the way the league is trending. Big scoring, no defense. Hey, by the way, I'm now convinced the NFL doesn't want guys playing defense any longer. You're never going to see gangrene again. You're not going to see a lockdown defense like you saw in years past with the 85. Those they don't want those teams. They want 38, 35 ball games. They want big scoring for gambling. It's more important for the NFL to get into the gambling game than it is to get into the football game and do what's right for the league. Hey, running backs are essential. Well, not in today's NFL. Running the ball, stopping the run has always been a mantra since 1920 when the league was founded. They want to get away from that. They totally want to get away from that. Okay? You're not going to have – then again, you didn't have a great defense last year. Because when you needed it and counted on it and had to have it, you didn't get it. Great defenses show up in great moments. Not against shitty teams. Okay? Great teams show up when it matters. Ask the Cowboys about winning big games. They haven't won one in 26 years. When you're a great defense and a superior defense, you show up when it matters. Not during the Houston Texans, where nobody cares. Okay? Nobody cares. When you had to be great, you couldn't. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. When you had to be great, you were not. Now, I'll give you this. The NFC title game, you were great in that game. You were great in that game. You took the quarterback out. You stuffed that offense because they had no quarterback. Your offense was nothing really in that ball game, but you gave your offense short field position, and you were dynamic in that game against the 49ers, a really good roster. It's your best game of the year. Okay? The rest of them, whatever. So the running back position, by the way, we're not going to look at week 14 today because we've already looked at the Cowboys. So we're going to look at the Seattle Seahawks, and we're going to look at all the Eagle pass rushers because that's going to be essential. But one more thing on the running back. Howie was ahead of the curve. Look at it. He did it right. Howie doesn't have to worry about paying a running back because he doesn't have one. He's got a collection of dudes. What you see in Philadelphia, get this, what you see in Philadelphia is what you're going to start seeing all over the league. It's not that Howie doesn't want to have one. This is the way the league is trending, to have a collection of guys like that. He's ahead of the curve. You don't have a star back there. Then again, Buffalo doesn't have one. Kansas City doesn't have one. Cincinnati kind of has one. Dallas kind of has. I think Tony Pollard's good, but elite? I don't know. All the really great teams, they have like nobody. They have a collection of, like the Pacheco guy. You think the Pacheco guy could go to Tennessee and be a star? Absolutely not. He'd probably not make the roster. But you got Mahomes there. So he makes everybody elite around him. That's what it is. So Howie's ahead of the trend. Hey, everyone else, get this. Howie signed all of these guys. And New York said no to Barkley, who, for his position, is an elite guy. But the league doesn't look at the running back position any longer as an elite position. So you're not going to pay elite money. It's funny, you can have that salary cap number all you want for the running back position, but it just doesn't matter because you know why? If you're good, I'll franchise tag your ass 3 years in a row and then dump your ass because you're not going to last more than 5 years anyway. That's the average. Why would a team pay a 3-year contract to a guy like Barkley when they can franchise tag you for 3 years? And then when you're banged up, out of gas, no more tread on the tire, can cut you. Why would I do that? Because what? I like you? Let me make this very clear to you. This is nothing to do with liking your players. You get paid to do a job. They pay you. And they pay you for what they see you're worth to them. You don't have the leverage. You think you do. Because you were always under the impression, well, if I'm the best player at my position, I should be paid for it. Well, that's if the league looks at your position as a value position, which they do not. It's not personal. It is totally, strictly business. Okay? No. Arthur, you don't have anybody in the backfield, but that's a trend now in the NFL. They're just dudes. You sign a bunch of guys hoping one guy pans out, and I'm not going to pay anybody because you don't have anybody in there. Dude, stop pretending you have people. You have everybody people passed on and cut or traded. You're making it sound like you have this collection of running backs that are super talented. They're not. They're expendable pieces. The Eagles, the league, are now using expendable pieces at running back. The Christian McCaffreys, the Derrick Henrys. Let me say this to you. After Derrick Henry and Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore go into the Hall of Fame, it'll be hard-pressed to put another one in. Because just like a starting pitcher winning 300 games, you're never going to see a pitcher win 300 games ever again in baseball because that's not how they do it in baseball. You pitch 5 2/3, and you don't get a chance to really get the win sometimes because you turn it over to the bullpen. Dude, 200's now the magic number to get into the Hall of Fame. Tom Glavine's the last guy that will win 300 games in baseball for the next 50 years. Okay? Lions let Jamal Williams walk, traded Swift, then drafted a newer model in Jamar Gibbs. That alone should tell fans everything they need to know about the running back position. Correct. because they knew Swift's deal was up. They didn't want to pay him. He's injured. They don't want to put the money and gamble on him. The Lions don't want to gamble on him. So they traded him for a bag of Skittles to the Eagles. Eagles said, hey, I saw him he's good. He is. He's good. But that's good enough. It's good enough. Lions moved off him. And again, this is why I wanted Bijan. Cheaper deal, younger talent, more gas in the tank. And then you cut him or you trade him after 4 years when his contract is up. Or you franchise tag his ass. That's the new model for running backs. Guys, give it to Howie. He now is ahead of the trend because he got a bag of, used cars for his running back position. But that's the trend in the league now. It's okay. That's right there how they're going to do business. Not just Philly. Everyone. They franchise Tony Pollard. They'll see what they have. Watch this. If Tony Pollard gets hurt again, they'll move off him because they franchised him and they'll draft another running back. They are not going to spend Todd Gurley money ever again on a running back or Ezekiel Elliott money ever again. You're going to have to be Derrick Henry exceptional. See, to me, over the last 7 years, it's Derrick Henry and everyone else. Cook's the second guy. Zeke's the third guy, and he's out of gas. Look at how many years Zeke lasted on that. Zeke was better on his rookie deal, was he not? When Zeke got his money, he was terrible. No, he was average. Nobody pays $13 million for average. You can't be average. Okay? Dude, and Atlanta gets a guy who's young, probably lead the NFL in rushing. So this talk about, and the running backs are now defending themselves. They should be disappointed in their organizations. But overall, they should be more disappointed in the trend of the league. They don't value you anymore. They don't want you to be a star. They're not going to pay you star money. They would rather pay a defensive tackle or a second-team wide receiver more money than you. Understand who you are. That's who you are now. The running back position in the NFL will not make more money in 3 years than wide receiver number 2 on any given team. Okay? JM goes, Dalvin Cook has had 5 of the last 6 years 1,000-yard seasons. You've never had that in your history of your franchise. A running back do what Dalvin Cook did in Minnesota. There's no running back in your history that has put as many consecutive 1,000-yard rushing seasons that Dalvin Cook has. Okay? Whatever, dude. Whatever. And he's unemployed. And he's 28. And he's coming off a season where he played all 17 and was 1,000-yard rusher. And he doesn't have a job. JM, whatever. I don't care what you think. He's a great player. He's been the second best running back in the last 7 years in the league. He's been the second best. No one's come close to him. Maybe Zeke. Okay? That's the position. These quarterbacks, though, pretty mum, though, aren't they? They don't want to sit there and open up their mouth, though, because they don't want to upset the apple cart with management. Because you know why? Once you get your big-time contract, you get patted on the head. Hey, why doesn't Jalen Hurts step up for some of these running backs making more money? He's a big leader. How come Josh Allen's not stepping up? How come Joe Burrow's not stepping up? How about Justin Herbert is not stepping up for Austin Eckler to get more money? and Austin Eckler, or how come, hey, wait a minute, here's a better one. How come Joe Burrow is not stepping up with Mike Brown and saying to Mike Brown, why does Joe Mixon have to take a pay cut to stay on the team? And you're going to give me $60 million a year. What is wrong with that? I mean, why aren't you standing up for your guy? Because you're a shill. Now you're a corporate guy. Makes me want to smash their faces in more now. You're not standing up for your guys. True leader stands up for his guy. Hey, man, if you're Joe Burrow, I know you're in the midst of a contract negotiation with Zipper Wallet Mike Brown, so I get it. End of the day, though, dude, you're the leader of the team. Shouldn't you say something? My guy Joe Mixon, man, took a pay cut. But guess what? Joe Burrow won't. Oh, I see. I see. Because now you become a corporate dude. Like Jalen, now a corporate guy. $50 million. Guy, you can't upset management. Yeah, but I'm a team guy. It's not just Jalen. I'm picking on him. It's all the quarterbacks. Where's Daniel? Like I said, where's Daniel Jones? I thought him and Barkley were working out at high schools and jumping over hurdles and working out together and being boys. Where's Daniel Jones? You got your $46 million. This was over $2 million too. $2 million. Where's Daniel Jones? Thought they were boys. That's right. Tone's like Daniel Jones got his money. Went into hiding. Where's Daniel Jones? I don't know. Hey, Daniel. Daniel Jones went into hiding once he got his money. You know, management went to Jones and said, we're not going to give a contract extension. And you would rather give a guy like Darren Waller, who's been banged up like the last 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, $17.5 million, the highest paid tight end in the league. And you can't give this guy $2 more million. Holy shit. And you got a guy coming off a knee injury, just signed for $14 million in Tennessee. Saquon Barkley's got to be going like this. Damn. This guy missed half the year, and he got the money I wanted. Holy shit. Jones knows he committed to the bank heist and ain't saying shit. Not only him. Where's Joe Burrow defending Joe Mixon? Why did my boy have to take a pay cut to stay on the Bengals? So you could pay me? Oh, I see. Because we don't really look at the running back. Don't you see it's a league thing? These guys are systematically being terminated. They're systematically, the running backs are being terminated. The big money backs. The guys who signed all those big deals. 2 years ago, Joe Mixon signed a deal in Cincinnati that gave him damn good money. Well, now they're giving him a haircut. Cook got fired. Zeke got blown out. The only guy still standing, really, is Alvin Kamara. And you want to hear what I think happens with Alvin Kamara? You know what the Saints are going to do? Once the league comes down, the league is going to suspend. Here's my prediction, Tone. The league's going to suspend Alvin Kamara for conduct detrimental to the league. They're going to void that contract and cut him. Makes too much money. Makes too much money. You watch. Alvin Kamara will either be suspended for conduct detrimental to the league, or the Saints will cut him. They still don't know how the league is going to respond to that Vegas thing. And if McCaffrey gets hurt in San Francisco one more time, they they'll keep him because they gave up too much assets to Carolina to get him. They'll probably cut him the next year. Okay? Yes, sir, baby. League is terminating the running back high-paid guys, and they want the league to look like Philly. Bunch of cast-offs. It's not a Philly. I thought it was a Philly thing that they didn't give a shit about the running back position. Howie was ahead of the curve. Get a bunch of dogs in there or decent guys. Good. Hey, by the way, good players, not high-end players. And by the way, Howie got the best of the broken down jalopies. He did. Howie Roseman got the best of the broken down jalopies. And if you listen to any Philly guy, I really like my room. You got one guy's average 2 starts a year. Okay? Another guy who's good, and the rest of them are whatever. Penny's amazing. Right. He was a bust in Seattle. A bust. But he, all of a sudden, is now a great player in Philly. A bust. And they traded up to get him. And he's had 2 starts a year in 5 years. 6 yards a carry for 2 games? Great. He's a bust. I'm sick of that. Because now I know what the league's doing. Way to go, Howie. Head of the curve again. Look at Roseman, man. Out front. Setting the trend to have used car lots as a running back room. That's all you need if you have an elite quarterback. Right? All you do is get a used car lot. That's your running back room, and you're good. Well, hey, and you got 2 big wideouts? Shit. Give me a couple used cars back behind my great old... Hey, get this. The Eagles would rather invest in their old line, which is right, than their used car lot known as running backs. Gainwell in Boston wouldn't make another roster behind another O-line. Dude, honestly, OJ could come out of retirement and run behind the Eagle O-line and give you 5 yards. I mean, seriously, dude. Emmett would have 1,000 yards at 58 behind that O-line right now. Okay? Weapon hits. Hey, Tone, Weapon's hitting on something here. The quarterback is the new running back. No. Kind of Weapon. The quarterback, and this is why Bruce Arians said it, the dual quarterback is here to stay, because you know why? The best running backs now on most teams are the dual threat guys. Who's the best running back in Baltimore? Lamar. Who's the best running back in Philly? Jalen. Who's the best running back in Buffalo? Josh Allen. Makes sense. Who's the best running back in Chicago? According to him, he's the greatest. Justin Fields. And if you're lucky to have NTN and Trevor Lawrence, you think NTN's going to be on a Jaguar team in 2 years? No, he'll be blown out too. Whatever. Jalen's the best back on your team. He's the best red zone back. Swift, by the way, I want to make this point. I think Swift is good. But the Lions didn't think it. No, the Lions also passed on Darius Slay. This is going to be interesting to watch the Eagle used car lot. That's what I'm going to start calling them. The running back room is the used car lot dealership in Philly. The car lot dealership is at the NovaCare Center. And on Saturdays, they have a reduced price, 20% for you to come in and get any car you want. Yeah, 20% off. Hey, she's been broken down the last 5 years, but I'll tell you what. She's something to look at. And if you just drive it around town, it's a hell of a car. Just don't leave the greater Philly area because she'll break down on the Jersey Turnpike. This penny, let me tell you something. This penny, man, unbelievable. It goes around town. City miles are great. You put her on the Jersey Turnpike, though, she might break down at the Lombardi exit. Then you have to go in for Carl Jr.'s. You sit there, and it's all good, man. Hey, just don't drive her out of the greater Philly area. Like, if you're going up to see Big Sills at King of Prussia, don't bring the penny car. Okay? Just don't do that, man. Can't have it because it might not make it to King of Prussia. The running back position is the enterprise of the NFL. Rent it, run it down, bring it back for a new model. Bang! Enterprise, baby. Yeah, you can get checked out too over at the NovaCare Center. And if you join the Gold, like the Gold Club, you could save up miles after a while and you get a free running back. Yeah. Hey, you get a free run. Hey, Tone, if you save up enough miles, which is probably money, you get a free running back in about a year. So if you join the Enterprise Philadelphia Eagle used car lot or rent a car, you get a free running back in a year if you save your money right and you rent enough running backs. You get a free running back. Okay. Seals, are you suggesting that they should have No, John, you're missing it. The Eagles are ahead of the trend. Every team in the NFL is going to look like Philly. No, John. I'm not suggesting that. Absolutely not. No. Hey, John, I would make this point to you. I guarantee you, John, that the Carolina Panthers regret giving Miles Sanders that money. Okay? If you rack up enough points, they'll throw in a free mouthpiece and shoulder pads. Look at that. Tone wants to give him like a sippy cup, too. You know, the shit that you go and you put a little sippy cup there right next to your console. Man, if you rent enough cars, you get a sippy cup. That's what the Eagles have, man. It's the enterprise room of running backs. We have a rent-a-car for you. It's a midsize. Yeah, but I want the luxury one. Nah. Luxury one, man, I have to give too many points up, too much money up for that. Give me the midsize. Midsize. However, in that room, miles matter. You see, when you rent a car with Enterprise, though, miles don't matter. But when you rent a car in the NFL and a running back, miles matter. This thing only goes up to 500 miles. After that, you got to start paying for it. Yeah, well, maybe I should get one of them midsize cars and go down that route. Holy cow. Dude, no, you're missing it. Howie did the right thing. Howie's done the right thing. Nobody in the league's going to, dude, the elite running back, every elite running back that had a contract up was told no. Don't you get it? It's not a Giants thing. Hey, let me ask you this one. Hey, Tone, think about this. You think it was really over $2 million? Or do you think it was about the amount of years? You think the New York Giants were bitching with Barkley over $2 million? Or were they bitching over 3 years? They're not bitching over the money. They're bitching over the amount of length of the contract and the guarantee money. That's what they were guaranteed. That's the problem. It's not $2 million. Dude, the running backs, man. And get this. They could do all the barking they want. You know what they sound like to me? Colin Kaepernick talking about social justice and how the league is going to start trending towards being socially conscious. Oh, my God. You guys will believe anything. Holy cow. If the league says it. Yeah, because the owners are, because the players are full of shit, right? Okay. Owner tells you it, or some media guy tells you, hey, did you hear that on the radio? Did you see that on Twitter? See Daniel Jones coming to anybody's rescue. Come on now. Dude, hey, Jalen, good luck, man. Just make sure. The only thing I would say to Jalen, when you ask for which rent-a-car you're going to use, like the opening weekend against New England, you might want to get both rent-a-cars because one will break down because, that penny vehicle, man, it's like a Jaguar. It's really pretty to look at, but it breaks down a lot, and it costs a mint to fix. I mean, a windshield wiper's $500. So, dude, make sure the Swift car is ready to rock. That's kind of like an electric car. So you kind of just plug it in. It's all good, It's not a lot of money right now. So that's the car you probably want to travel with. That penny car, man, if you leave the Philly area, that thing's going to break down like a Jag. Okay? Sorry, man. Running backs are bitching. Well, you're being phased out. As Arnold would say, you are being terminated. You're being terminated. 250-pound running backs are being terminated. Maria, don't drive the penny car. It breaks down near Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Don't worry, Penny be broken down by Q3 against New England, and then you'll have to get into the electric car, into the Elon Musk car called the Swift. You'll be all right. Callie Green goes, Dan's hate on Penny? I don't hate the guy. I covered the guy when he was at San Diego State. He's a heck of a guy. His career sucked. It's not hate. His career sucked. S-U-C-K-E-D. Sucked. It's why Seattle fired him. Sucked. First round pick. What? Speaking of Seattle, this will be your Week 15 opponent. You know what's funny? Look at JM. Next up, Don Shula's legacy being mocked for losing to the Bills in the championship. Well, here, JM, before I get to this. So how many people think that Bill Belichick's legacy is on the hot seat right now, or his job's on the hot seat in New England? Thank you, JM, for reminding me. JM, I can always count on you to remind me. How many people think that Don Shula and that record of, 346 wins? How many people think that Bill Belichick's coaching is on the hot seat this year in New England? It's already out the window? No, it's never out the window. Greatest coach ever coached National Football League. Quez goes, of course not. So let me tell you Don Shula's last 10 years in the league. With Dan Marino. Hey, Tone, you'll like this. So the greatest and most successful regular season wins coach, Don Shula, with 346 wins. His last 10 years, he was 3-4 and missed the playoffs 6 of the 10 years that he closed out his legendary career. He missed the playoffs with Dan Marino. With Dan Marino. This guy's got Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones. Don Shula missed the playoffs 6 of the last 10 years and was 3-4 in the postseason with Dan Marino. With Dan Marino. And he missed the playoffs 6. Speaking of that, Armando Salguero covers the Miami Dolphins. for Outkick will join us in hour number 3 at 5:30. The Tua versus Hurts Bowl will be interesting. Okay? That guy missed the playoffs with Dan Marino 6 of the last 10 years. He sucked at the end with the Hall of Fame quarterback who was still throwing for a ton of yards. Don Shula. Okay? His last 10 years were very underperforming as an organization and as a head coach. Well, he won a lot of regular season games. So do the Vikings. So do the Vikings. I mean, Dave Wannstedt made the playoffs, for God's sakes. Ugh. Jimmy was 2-3 in the playoffs. Yeah, because Shula left him the shittiest team he possibly could have. Shula ran the organization into the ground at the end. It's terrible. A terrible roster, terrible team. Those green contracts and all those big-time contracts Shula had given all of his guys. He was brought in to clean it up. Terrible coach at the end was Don Shula. What did he win? With Dan Marino, who's supposed to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Ooh, man. Okay. Let's look at the Philadelphia Eagles Week 15 opponent. The Seattle Seahawks. You guys tell me what you think of this. By the way, since 2000, the Eagles are 8-3 versus Seattle. And that is clearly one of the toughest places to play. And it's in Seattle. And I believe you're coming off the Niner game or the Cowboy game. I think you're coming off a Cowboy game. I think you're playing Niners, Cowboys, and then you got to fly to Seattle for the record. How good do you think this Seattle team is? What do you think about Hurts' accuracy? Angel, he's getting better. His completion percentage proves it. But then again, he doesn't throw a lot of high percentage turnover plays. Like these other guys are throwing the ball 600 times. Jalen throws the ball 200 times less. So, I mean, he doesn't really throw it as much as the elite guys. And that's by design. It's nothing on him, but it's by design. He doesn't really throw the ball with many attempts compared to the other guys in the league. But again, that's not what they do and how they win games. And it's not a criticism. It's just a different style in play. It's all. What do you make Seattle's game more concerning than the 49er game, says Callie Green? Okay. I would say this to you. Let's take a look at that Week 15 opponent now. True, but I see some amazing tight window throws. Angel, you saw amazing tight window throws in 1 year. Let's see it continue to be a process where it's continuing to get better. Right now, as of now, Angel, again, Jalen had an elite year. He's not an elite player yet. 1 year don't make you elite. It just doesn't. He doesn't have elite arm talent like the other guys in the league. He's getting better at it. And what makes that important, those other guys don't have elite running skills like Hurts has. And the closer, get this, Tone, do you agree with me on this? The closer Jalen Hurts gets to being as good a passer as Josh Allen, he'll be a better player than Josh Allen. Because Hurts' running ability, nobody in the league runs like him and runs smart. He is the best Wildcat quarterback I've ever seen throw the ball. This is the guy they envisioned. But they never could find a guy who could throw the ball. Bruce Arians said the same thing. Okay? This is a guy that can throw the ball, and he's throwing it now with touch. So Get this. The guy in Chicago saying he's the best, one of the top 5 greatest running back quarterbacks of all time. That's not going to keep him in the league. They had a quarterback in the 70s like that called Bobby Douglas. So are you telling me that Justin Fields is a modern day version of Bobby Douglas? Bobby Douglas wasn't very good. He was effective because he ran the ball. He is a modern day Bobby Douglas. You guys don't even know who that is. You're going to have to look him up. All he did was run with the ball. That's who he is. Okay? Here's what I look at with Seattle, your Week 15 opponent. I couldn't have been more wrong about a football team than I was about Seattle. I thought Seattle was going to have the worst record in the league last year. And what a job of coaching by Pete Carroll and his coaching staff and the organization. It was one of the absolute best coaching jobs out there. Absolutely great. Who would have thought they would be better without Russell Wilson? And they were. Hawks might be the 4th best team in the NFC. Okay? And you could make an argument that they could probably be in the conversation to win the NFC West. Okay? I mean, I couldn't have been more wrong about this team. I thought they were going to finish down near 32, 31, 30. I didn't see it. You move off a franchise guy who's going to the Hall of Fame, and you're better? Great coaching. That shows you what good coaching can do. Carroll should have moved off of Russell Wilson when he wanted to 2 years previous. Since 2000, as I said, Seattle is 8-3 versus Philly. Geno Smith played like an MVP and statistically had a better season than even the guy who finished second in the MVP race in Jalen Hurts. Better passing year. And every single statistic. Every statistic. Passing the ball, Geno was better. And maybe, if you think about it, was as effective as Jalen Hurts was. I mean, every single statistic. Passing the ball, Geno Smith outdid Jalen Hurts passing the ball. Now, my question is, just like with Jalen, can he do it again? I don't know. Okay? I really don't know. Okay? I don't know. Okay? Micah goes like this. He's been in the league 7 years longer. What does that have to do with having a better season? He's been a journeyman quarterback. He hasn't started in 7 years. What are you talking about? You're making it sound like Geno Smith has been some mainstay quarterback. He's been a turd. He had 1 year. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think he finished 5th in the MVP. If the defense for Seattle was a little better, they beat San Francisco. Pete Carroll just had to retool the team. And here's something else. Here's something else that he was great at. Do you know that Geno Smith was 3rd in pocket pressure? Which means quarterbacks with pressure in the pocket. Only Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers were better when it came to pressure in the pocket. So he saw the game. Again, I want to be able to see all this be duplicated again. Hey, Tone, I didn't get a chance to fact check this. Seattle had 2,000-yard receivers last year, and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Both those guys had 1,000-yard receivers. Is that true? That they both had 1,000-yard seasons? Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf? Seattle had 2 1,000-yard receivers? I didn't get a chance to double check that. Both had over 1,000 yards. Well, I underestimated that passing offense. What a job by Geno. Holy shit. And a rusher with 1,000 yards. Man, what a season for that offense. Both receivers over at 1K. Running back, a rookie, over 1K. What a hell of a season for Geno Smith. And then they get the kid from Ohio State, right? Jackson Smith, Najaba. That kid, they added him to the mix. Plus you have Kenneth Walker. That's a good-looking group up there. Now, the key is going to be their interior offensive line is not the best. They're pretty good at the perimeter on the tackle positions. But they're not super when it comes to interior offensive line. Okay? I'm going to tell you something. San Francisco, you guys are worried about? I'd be worried about going to Seattle and playing that team. That team can match you. That team has got guys you can't cover. That team can run the ball, throw the ball, and they got 2,000-yard wideouts too. You better have linebackers that can cover that middle of the field against them. And you ain't got them guys this year. Dude, that's going to be a handful of a ball game up there in Seattle. That might be your toughest ball game of the year, going to Seattle and playing up there. Dude. Here's something else, too. Their cornerbacks might be elite. Tyreek Woolen, the kid Mike Jackson. Then you add Devin Witherspoon from Illinois. Look what Pete Carroll's doing. He's making a new Legion of Boom. They sign a defensive tackle. They brought back the linebacker. Do me a favor, Tone. Quadri Diggs, right? He's another one. They got to get more out of Kobe Bryant. Who's the linebacker they just brought back too? He was a second-team All-Pro with the Rams. And they kind of mended fences. They're going to bring him back now, put him in the middle. Bobby Wagner. You got Jamal Adams. By the way, Jamal Adams, 10 times better than anything in Philadelphia. Here, think about this. Their corners are good. Their wide receivers are good. You ain't got a linebacker near Bobby Wagner, second-team All-Pro last year. And you got 2,000-yard wideouts to have to contend with. I'm going to say this to you, man. Pete Carroll, what a job of coaching, man. What a fantastic job of rebuilding on the fly. Good for him. Good for him. Seattle's a good-looking football team. And you're in the middle of a stretch of a big run of teams. Don't get hurt. Don't lose anybody. Because you're going to need everybody. This ain't playing the Houston Texans anymore. And then playing Kenny Pickett. Seattle's a team. I'll tell you what. As good as – now, the key will be, and I happen to agree with Tone. Look at Kayvon. Geno's overrated, but not Jalen. Right? What makes you say that? What would make you say that? Your love of the Eagles? Okay, that's fair. That's okay. Hey, Eagle Clips, you're right. The interior of the offensive line for Seattle is a concern. It is. Yale says that Geno has to play same or better than he did a year ago. And I agree. I think that's the story in Seattle. I completely believe that that's the story. He's got to play close to what he did, or better. Look at what coaching does, though. All right. We're going to look at the edge rushers of the Eagles. Week out from training camp. And we'll take a look at them and how they fit into the Sean Desai scheme of things. Please hit the like button. Hour number 2, keep it here on the National Football Show.